And they were like, this person needs to go. And I do remember a couple times being like, oh, I don't know how to possibly say goodbye. I feel bad because they're so low. And if I kick them, they're just going to be lower. Not that I'm physically kicking them, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm showing them the door because they don't fit the mold of where Adored Salon is going.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Janish, owner of Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions. I'm obsessed with curly hair. I cut it, style it, and extend it, and this podcast is all about my curly girl obsessions that stretch far beyond just curly hair.
Hey there, it's me, Jennifer, from the Curly Girls Obsessions, and I'm excited to have you here today. Today's conversation is going to be kind of blunt. Like, gosh, you know, if you've listened, I hate when I say the word like, and I am such an 80s girl, early 90s. It just comes up constant. So if you hear the word like too many times, I'm going to apologize for it now, regardless. So my blunt conversation today. If you've been listening for a while, you know that my goal is to speak to the top 2% in the hair industry. And why? You might ask, why? Why would that be your goal? Why wouldn't you want to talk to multiple people? Why wouldn't you? And I do want to talk to multiple people. The key is that I want to motivate a lot of hairstylists to become the top 2% and stop living in your career like it's a freaking hobby. I want hairstylists to understand the importance of authority, specialty, expert in the industry. I don't want them to be ashamed to say that this is what they are, because today in the world, and maybe always, because our industry is one of those industries where a lot of shame does exist. And where does it begin? Well, of course, it begins with the mindset that resides within the individual, one, and two, the people around them and the things that they have to say to that person that helps or doesn't help develop their mindset to be the top 2. So, you know, when I was young, I came from very, very humble beginnings. If you listen to the first podcast, Who is Jennifer Janish, it describes my road to here. And it tells you, you know, like, my first father was gone by the time I was 3. My stepdad, who was ultimately my real dad, like not by blood, but by heart is the best way to describe it, had a horrific motorcycle accident when I was 8 and caused me to really have to step up to the plate with responsibility and help take care of my younger sisters who were age 4 and 2 weeks old. Like, there was no thought process at the time when I was 8 of the victim mentality, because I didn't even know what the frick it was, right? And if I ever felt sorry for myself, there was always this voice or something to pull me out of that space. So it just kind of did not exist. And I think it's because a lot is due to the fact that my mom always herself stepped up to the plate and always carried herself to move on to the next day or the next, moment in time. Whether she did it with grace or happiness, that I don't know, but she did it. And I think that ultimately was where that no victim mentality came in, because I, at 8 years old, could see her still going through life when things were really, really shitty and really, like, most people would have seen them as a mountain that they could never have climbed. And she just did it, right? And, could she have felt like a victim at the time? Quite possibly. I think I might have been too young to understand it, but I really don't ever remember my mom being like, of course this is happening. Oh, what next? This, that, the... I don't remember that when I was young, unless I just programmed it out of my mind. And I really, really and truly, under the circumstances, could have fallen into that victim mentality or the less than, right? Because, I mean, there was a time I'll never forget, and this was in between my real biological father and my stepdad. Like, we lived in an apartment. It was just the two of us. It was a 1-bedroom. I had the bedroom. She had the pull-out couch. We had a car that was as old as the hills. And if you remember what Baker's Square or Poppin' Fresh Pies were, it was this restaurant where you could order pies or take home a pie, and it came in a pie, tin that you took home because the pie would fall apart, right? And there was a hole in the floor of the car that had a Poppin' Fresh pie tin in it so that I would not fall through it like my little leg. And like remembering this, like I'm laughing. It's not funny, but it is funny because I thought it was so cool to move over the Poppin' Fresh pie and watch the road go by, like as we drove. Like, it was crazy. I remember one time we didn't have milk for my cereal, and I was like, you know what, Mom, I'm just going to try it with water. And, maybe my mom was falling apart in the kitchen because we didn't have milk. And maybe that's why I said it would be okay to try it with water to make her feel better. I really don't remember, but I do remember eating my cereal one time with water on it. Must not have been that good because I never did it again, but it did actually happen. And so because of these situations, because I also know that you can get to the other side of a horrible situation or a situation that feels like a mountain, and you're gonna be okay. Like, if you have any sort of motivation, or if you are able to tell yourself things will be better. Tomorrow, things will be better. The next 5 minutes, things are going to be better than they are right now. You will release yourself from that victim mentality, right? So you remove yourself from the hobbyist into the career-driven hairstylist in that moment, because you say that it's no longer a hobby. Like, whatever life situation that has happened that has taken you from knowing that it's not all fun and games to, I need this to feed my family and make things better, is that moment where I feel like you skyrocket like 100-fold into what you really can be and really do. And I say hairstylist, but like, we all know that this transfers throughout life. You could be, a CEO at a corporation and have the shit hitting the fan. But if you can sit back, take a deep breath, and think about the potential of what is coming, you could fix it. You could fix the situation you are in at any point in time if you are able to control your emotions and control your mindset and block out the noise. That is how you get further. So, what would a hairstylist have to block out, right? Okay, well, we have those family members that can be quite manipulative. They think because they're your family member that you should either, one, be doing their hair for free or at the deepest discount known to man, right? And the thing that I had to do with my family in order to instill the fact that this was not my hobby, this was my career, and that I had real bills to pay, and this job, this career path, my passion, even though I love doing what I do, is what gets that done. And I need to be respected in that sense, right? What did I do? I asked them, would you work for free? Would you go to your job tomorrow and would you work for free for the 2 hours or 3 hours, however long it's going to take me to do your hair? Would you work for free? Because when I worked in a commission salon as a commission stylist, the salon owner is still going to expect that the hour behind that chair is paid for. So if the hairstylist is giving the deep, deep discount to the family, guess who's getting the benefit of that? The salon owner, or the rent that needs to be paid on the space that you own, or the chair that you rent from the salon. Like, it all has to go somewhere. Nothing in life comes for free. So why should your hair, just because you're my cousin or because you're my aunt or my sister or, Joe Schmo from down the street who's 10 times removed from me, like, that's the craziness that goes on in our industry and is believed to be okay because it's been a social norm for such a long time. It's totally not okay. It's totally not okay. And once you grasp that into your mindset as a hairstylist, is the minute that you're going to go from being the hobbyist or mediocre to the top 2% in the industry, because the majority of the people don't even believe this to be true, right? And it's just not okay. Like, these are the things. And so to take that element just a tad farther, how I said to you, like, I speak to the top 2% within the hair industry. How did I recognize that? Well, number one, I already told you, I don't like the victim mentality. Number two was that I realized the people that I worked with beside me at Adored Salon, my team, also didn't believe that, right? The key players were in it just like I was. It was a career. It was providing for their family. They were serious about it. And the ones who did not believe that, it became so apparent so fast that it was like it was, the team could feel it, and they didn't want that person to be a part of the team because they weren't really a team player. And they were like, this person needs to go. And I do remember a couple times being like, oh God, I don't know how to possibly say goodbye. I feel bad because they're so low. And if I kick them, they're just going to be lower. Not that I'm physically kicking them, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm showing them the door because they don't fit the mold of where Adored Salon is going. And you know what's absolutely crazy is every single time that I let someone go from Adored Salon for not being at the caliber of the other hairstylists, and I was like, I've given you warnings, because that did always happen. There would be a couple warnings, and I've told you that I can no longer stand for this, and now you need to go. The majority of those people really stepped it up at their next position, and they became that person. They became that person that I was talking about, that I was no longer tolerable of. Interesting, right? Like, I think it's one of those things that you have to hear. Some people take a warning as just a conversation. They don't understand it to be like, okay, here's warning number one, especially in the hair industry. Because while this is the mindset of many hairstylists, the mindset of many owners is that they're never going to get rid of a hairstylist because she is a dollar amount, right? No matter what she's bringing in, she's still bringing in something, and they couldn't quite possibly live without that thing. I don't believe that whatsoever, right? I had a couple times that were really nerve-wracking for me, because at Adored Salon, there were team members that I spent a lot of time training, and I put a lot of my energy into them. And there was situations where the pushback came to me, like they were like telling me how my business should be run. And I was like, you know what, if you don't like it, there's the door. You are more than welcome to leave, but I know how to take you from school to an extremely successful hairstylist. I know how to teach you how to get there. And if you don't like it, then you could go, because this model has worked before you and it's going to work after you. Now that sounds harsh, and not many salon owners would be willing to say that to someone on their team, but I was willing to not compromise my values and how my business was designed, right? I knew, and nobody gave me an easy path to get to success. Nobody was like, here's the yellow brick road to Oz, Jen. All you got to do is walk it. It was more like, here are the clients, get started, and the clients are going to put you through the ringer. It wasn't even like that the hair salon was putting you through the ringer. It was more so the clients and learning how to manage clients, how to learn how to fill your book of business, how to promote yourself, and how to talk with confidence about the services that you have to deliver. There was a lot of crying at night, and I'm not even a crier, but it did happen back in the day. And so, yeah, it's not like an initiation phase, if that's what it sounds like. I guess this could sound a little bit hardcore, but I really don't give two shits. Like, it ain't easy. There is not a job that's easy. And so you have to really get past that. The mindset, the shift, you have to know that what it is that you're working towards is worth building. It is worth the sacrifice. It's worth working long hours. It's worth getting education. It's worth putting in the energy to get back what you know is possible. So the other part of this that has taught me so much about me speaking to the top 2% of hairstylists within the industry and understanding the top 2% is the extension line. The extension line has taught me so much. In some respects, it's kind of humbled me a little bit. It's shown me that out of all the hairstylists that become extension artists, there's only the top 2% within that group that's going to deliver at the top 2%. And when it comes to that, what is it that I mean? One, it's that they have the mindset that they're going to succeed no matter what failure comes their way, no matter what problem, they're going to be able to work through it, and they're going to be able to get themselves to the point of being successful with these hair extensions. They're going to take the advice that's given. They're going to go to the classes. They're going to actually perform. This is an insane statistic. So I teach education for the hair extensions since 2025. But if I even go back further, right, in the salon, we were really mentoring each other from the start. So 16 years ago, when I started doing extensions, which was 2010, I went to the class by myself, and then I started doing the extensions myself in the salon. I was teaching myself from my failures. I was teaching the right-hand person who still is with me today on my team, Jackie, on what works and what doesn't work before she even ever went and was certified. So I guess I've been educating for a long time. And then when I opened my salon 12 and a half years ago, it was the same, right? I was educating on how to be that top 2%, as I just discussed earlier, when one didn't fit later. So then we go to actually charging for my education starting in 2020. And how it was birthed was I would come home from working 12 and 14-hour days behind the chair as a hairstylist, salon owner, running the salon, running the extension line, and deal with a shit ton of DMs that were like, how do you get your hair styled like you have it? My hairstylist that installed these extensions just let me leave with wet hair, yada, 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 right? So the big creation of, I'm looking at this dent, the big creation of Jennifer's online training, which then morphed into one-on-one classes in person once we were through the big C, then morphed into group classes, then morphed into me having my own install methods, depending on your hair texture and need, and showing a curly install from start to finish, which is the blueprint to a curly install, my 3-day extension class. And now I've also going to be included in 2026 curly hair cutting. Super excited about that. But the extension line, if we go back to the extension line and we think about this education, right? These stylists, there was available, well, in the beginning there wasn't, but shortly thereafter, it was like within 6 months that I got this online education. And I was like, everybody should be taking this. Most hairstylists at that time were making, on a fresh install, probably $1,500. The online education was, I believe, $699. So half of one install or a fraction of one install to invest in yourself on all the things about curly hair extensions, right? It kind of sounded like a no-brainer to me, but so many people were like, no. But there was quite a few that did take the class, and they were the ones that were ordering the hair the most. So that was the start of making my life easier. Then I created Karen styling videos, and those were meant for the consumer, but also a less expensive option to the hairstylist using our hair at, I believe they were $250. And when I still kept getting the DMs was 2 years ago, so 2023. So they were on the market for almost 3 years. And I made it a mandatory purchase. For the first time, if you were going to purchase our hair extensions, you had to purchase these $250 videos. Now, when I tell you that there was hairstylists canceling $2,000 orders because they were pissed that I was telling them they had to get these videos, it was insanity. But honestly, I was so sick of the customer service and lack of knowledge and desire to learn how to do it curly so that I wouldn't get the customer service call that the client's hair was tangled and matted because the hairstylist put a curl cream in their hair and let them leave with wet hair on a hope and a prayer that it was going to be okay, when in reality they would never do that with straight extensions. So why would you risk it with curly? Because of lack of knowledge, right? Again, these were the ones that were skimping by and not fully understanding what was needed to be learned in the situation. So now the other part is, again, shifting that mindset that you're going to be that hairstylist that's going to be charging top dollar for your hair service. If you do hair extensions, you know that you are providing the most expensive service within a hair salon. Now, getting to the point of being able to provide that service with a white glove and making sure that your starting point to your end point is on par and perfect all the way through with like a no-fail, rinse and repeatable situation. It takes a certain level of understanding and the mindset that you can actually do this. And when I go back to the classes, I just explained to you how people would cancel orders versus understanding. Here's the other part, is that even people who attend my classes and pay thousands of dollars, right? The extension class is $3,900. Only the top 2% will actually take that class and use it in the way that it is designed to help them become the top 2%. So do you see where I'm going here? Like, the mentality of the person needs to be accepting and open to everything and anything coming their way. If they want to get to that top 2%, they have to understand that they are going to have to be open to change, and it is going to cause them to step out of their box like tenfold, right? It's like going to Guam with a beach towel only. It's totally different from what you know. So then with that comes the end result, right? So as much as I would try as the creator of this brand, as a hairstylist that's doing it behind the chair, right? I know the shit that's going to go south because I freaking experience it every day. And in the class, I give these stylists the tools and the know-how to become successful. And when I get an email from a client that has my extensions installed that is not my client, I just want to like lose my mind, right? Because how is that possible? How am I deal with the hairstylist who purchases the hair, and on good faith, the hairstylist is delivering the white glove service and they are installing a premium product from the start. They're following all the directions. They're washing the hair the minute they get it to make sure it's perfect. When they know once they color the hair that there's no going back from this point, right? If something is off, you can see it when you first wash it. You know it. It just is that way. But they keep going and they think like it's going to get better, or they do all the things and then they get to the install and then they start cutting apart the wefts, which in strict detail, in bold and probably red on my website, it says do not cut these hand-tied wefts because they're hand-tied. It's continuous. They will fall apart if you cut them, right? Still happens. Like, you just want to beat your head against the wall, and there's really nothing that I can do except offer them my classes or pray to God that they know how to read and they actually read everything, right? You know what's so funny about this too is that there is a postcard that we made that goes in every order with a QR code, and it says in bright red with a stop sign, like, hello, if you've never read, if you're going to install these extensions, don't do it until you've read this. And then the QR code takes them to it. But a lot of people don't read, which leaves us open to a lot of mistakes, right? And so then comes back to the point of having a contract. This is something that a client getting hair extensions is like buying a used car every year. By the time they're done paying for the cost of the hair for the install, the cut to blend, their color, they come back every 6 to 8 weeks for raises and coloring of their natural hair, refreshing the color of the extensions. They buy premium products to use so that they invest in their hair. Like you've heard me say multiple times, you don't buy the Louis Vuitton never fill bag and put hand lotion on it to condition it. No, you buy the 2-ounce bottle from Louis Vuitton. That's called leather conditioner, and that's what you use, and it's $75. Maybe it's even more. I don't know. I don't even have a Louis Vuitton, but this is the situation I dream up in my mind as far as taking care of an item that's so expensive like that, right? Like, you're not just going to throw it in the frickin' sand at the beach. It's a investment in your image, and it's something you love and you worked hard for. So you better treat it with respect. And I think maybe because my beginnings were so humble, that everything that I have is treated with respect. Everything that I do with intention because I don't want to fuck it up. And so going back to that situation of the top 2%, having the contract, and when I said about washing the extensions, the idea is that you are organized. The client that wants them like a fire that happened 10 days ago is probably not your ideal client because you're going to be under the gun to order the hair. You're going to be under the gun to color the hair. The client's coming in, it's stressful. You're just not as prepared as if you have a consultation and you have 2 weeks to prepare or a week to prepare. You have time for the hair to come in. If you don't love it, you send it back. But so often, rather than not, when there's been a problem on the back end after the extensions have been installed, and all these boxes along the way that I just talked about were not checked, and somehow the problem becomes mine. I'm not the mom of all these hairstylists. At what point do you take accountability and responsibility and you figure out that maybe if you didn't like the extensions, you shouldn't have installed them in the first place to make the money on the front end, right? No, that's when you call the client and you reschedule because you need to order more. But usually that is not even the case. The case is something that happened between the purchasing of the extensions, coloring them, installing them, hopefully properly, and then the client leaving, going home, and hopefully properly maintaining them, because those Karen styling videos that the stylist had to purchase are hopefully being shown to the client during the install, or the client is having the option to order them themselves. That's what they're for. So that they can treat those extensions like that Louis Vuitton Neverfill. It's a big ass investment. And if you don't take care of it, it's not going to last as long as it should. The Louis Vuitton Neverfill is going to be around for your entire life. Your hair extensions that cost the same price are only going to last a year to 15 months. If you take such good care of them in the most perfect way that I tell you to in those Karen styling videos. So you need to be invested in the process from the beginning to the end as the hairstylist. If you want to be that hairstylist living in that 2% area, you need to take your classes, take the education, and invest yourself in it like you're in that 2% for that class. You are taking this class, you are spending your time on it, and you are going to take that knowledge and you're going to use it to the fullest so that you could be a top earner within the industry. That's that. And I can tell you how many times I have seen hairstylists spend the amount of money to come and take my class, travel, all the things, and then they do nothing with it. They become the victim that's like, oh, there's nobody in my area that will pay that for them. Yes, there is. You just need to find them. Because if I have people chartering private jets to come and spend $5,000 to sit in my chair, guess what? There are people in your area who will want those hair extensions from you at that elevated white glove service level. Hands down. You just got to show them it exists. A lot of the times they just don't even know it's a thing. So that's on you to promote it and prove to yourself that you're actually capable of delivering these type of results. And like I said, it's not just the hairstylist. This spans every single profession. If you don't believe in yourself first, you're never going to be in that top 2% of that earning income or top 2% mentality of the fact that you can handle anything that comes your way, and failures just become a gift because they're just a learning lesson or a stepping stone to get to the next point in life that you need to go. I hope this podcast delivered you value. If you don't subscribe or follow, do me a favor. Click subscribe, click follow. If you have a friend that needs to hear this, pass it on to them. And I hope your day has an awesome you. Signing off. I'll see you next time.